Okay, let's get started.
Whew. Hey horror freaks, welcome back to my channel. My name is Samantha. If this is first time here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you can get a notification every single time that I post a video, and I post every single week. As you can see from the title, on today's video I'm going to be giving you my full review, yes, with spoilers, of Scream or Scream 5. I just came out of the movie theater and I just watched it, and I just had the best experience as a horror fan in my life. I just love this. I am so grateful that I got the chance to live this. This is my first time watching a Scream movie in theaters because I wasn't born when the first ones came out. And the fourth one, my mom got me the DVD because no one got the chance to take me to the movie theater to watch it. So of course, I had to wait a long time to finally see a Scream movie in theaters, and it was amazing. So like I said, this review, it's with spoilers. If you don't want them, just to see how everything was, my general opinion on it, in the description box down below, there you're going to find the link to my spoiler-free review that it's on my blog. Or if you follow me on my Letterboxd profile already, you have seen the review. But just in case, in my website, I always put my spoiler-free reviews, and on social media, the only place where I spoil everything is here on YouTube. So you have been warned. I'm not going to tell you every single detail, but of course I'm going to be talking about who is Ghostface, their motives, who survived, who died, everything that happened. So of course, if you don't want that, this is the moment for you to leave, unless that you already have watched the movie and you just want to hear my opinion. If that's the case, then sit down and enjoy. If not, don't say that I didn't warn you, because I just did like almost 4 times. So given that talk and disclaimer ahead, let's get into the video. Now, Scream or Scream 5 basically takes us 25 years later of the first film, where Ghostface is once again on his killing spree. We have the originals, that it's Sydney and Gail and Dewey. Dewey is the only one that is still in Woodsboro. Gail is in New York, and Sydney, they don't really specify, but of course she's far away from Woodsboro. She even has kids and a husband. So of course she has done her life, and Gail is on a morning show. And Dewey, he had to retire from the police because he was basically asked to. And he and Gail, they got a divorce. So that's the first spoiler. Gail and Dewey are not together anymore. One, of course, is the first one that is not directed by Wes Craven, by obvious reasons. In case that you don't know it yet, Wes Craven passed away in 2015. But this movie, of course, is the first one of the whole franchise that is not directed by him. This is actually co-directed by, I'm going to read it, I don't want to say it wrong, Matt Bettinelli-Olphin and Tyler Gillett. And it was rated by Guy Busick. Now, like I said, this is co-directed. This one, it feels different, of course, because we don't have the same director, but not because he didn't want to. So we can't blame on that. But of course, the movie will feel different. Now, of course, the movie opens with the classic opening scene of a Scream movie. We have Jenna Ortega's character, that her name is Tara Carpenter. I want to pause and say that this woman, I love her. I really like her acting here. She definitely has the potential of becoming a Scream queen in the future. If she continues doing horror, she did a really good job. Now, moving on, of course, we have the typical stuff. She's in her house. She's texting on the phone with her best friend, Amber. And she got a phone call, and of course, she eventually picks up, and it's Ghostface. He does the things like, do you like scary movies? What movies do you like? She says that her favorite is The Babadook, and that she likes that type of horror, that it's more elevated and not the cheesy ones. And of course, this is something that is seen on the trailer, and it's the sequence. It's pretty predictable in a sense, because of course it's something that we used to see, and it's this type of opening scene. But of course, here comes with a twist. Now, first, these Ghostface or Ghostfaces, are really violent. Here they go full on force, really violent and creative with the way of killing and stabbing. Like seriously, a lot of blood is on this movie and I liked it. The reality is that I like it, how they spice things a little bit up, and we have a new part of Ghostface being way more creative with the way of killing. And like I said, a lot of blood, like points for that, seriously. Now the twist comes here because we are used to see that the person that gets chased and it's been killed on the opening scene dies. Here Tara actually survived. They don't really say much, of course we don't see it, but of course she gets to the hospital. And because basically at the last step, if you want to call it, a movie cuts to the title, of course. And then we have the introduction of her sister that doesn't live in Woodsboro. She basically abandoned her sister and her mother 5 years ago. And her name is Samantha, or Sam, like that she's called most of the movie. And she has a boyfriend, Richie. Now, she lives in a town next to Woodsboro. Like I said, she basically left. She explains the reason way later on the movie. And she gets a call because her mother left her sister alone because she's in London. Her mother doesn't appear in any part of the movie. And of course, she's the next person that they need to call, of course, because something happened to her sister. So she gets back to Woodsboro. She gets to the hospital. Here's when we have the introduction of the group of friends and the suspects, if we want to call them that way, of their friends of Tara. Chad and Maddie are the nephews of Randy Mix. I love this. I love their characters. They actually play a really good homage to the character because they have all the knowledge of Randy and they use it very well, especially in one specific scene I'm going to be talking later. So we have the introduction of them, and now of course they are kind of the suspects here because of course the killer is always on a group of friends and is always close to Sydney and the protagonist. Now the movie in some way was marketed as Tara being the protagonist, but the true protagonist here it's Sam because she is the main reason why Ghostface came back. And why? This is something that was actually a little bit weird when they said it, but basically the reason why Sam left was because she found out when she's 13 by some diaries that her mom had on high school. She got pregnant of her in high school. Is that she is Billy Loomy's daughter. Did the calculations, I did the math, and by the year that she was born in 1996, and how the whole thing was played. Basically, Billy cheated on Sydney with her mother, and he never knew. And he stayed with Sydney, of course. We all know the story of Billy and Sydney, but he basically cheated on her, and he never knew that he had a daughter. Sam knew she was basically telling her mother like why she never told her about it, but her dad basically caught her on the act of telling the mother. So since he heard the whole thing, he left. And she feels guilty that because of her father left. And she became a pretty rebel teen, eventually leaving her mother and her sister. Now Tara has this resentment against her sister, especially when she tells her everything. And she wants her really far away. Now Samantha gets chased a little bit by Ghostface on the hospital, and of course nothing really happens. They have a fight scene, but of course Ghostface escapes. Now from this moment on, you kind of start, if I don't know you, but at least I start like check who is the major suspect and why. Of course, we're used to having more than one, so we need to be careful with that. I'm not going to be telling you who it is until the end. I'm going to be telling you, but let me tell you that it's kind of obvious if you read between the lines, because it's, of course, in our faces who is a killer. But it's not, they basically put you in the face. They are telling you who is the killer, but they do that almost with every single character and they place the motives of each one. But the reality is that you kind of see it coming, but still it's kind of a shock moment. Now, like I said, Dewey, he was basically forced to retire. He is not doing well. Like I said, he divorced Gail because she got this work in New York and he basically wasn't feeling it. So after 2 months, he left her and they got a divorce. And now he's living like really far from everyone and he's not doing well. But Sam, since of course we have Stab, we have the whole story of the original, of course they knew that Dewey was part of it. So Sam and her boyfriend Richie, they go to Dewey's house, they start talking, and here Dewey actually introduced us to the 3 rules to survive a stab movie, and I love them. I really like it. This I have them here. The rule number 1: never trust the lover. Number 2: the killer is always related with something on the past. And number 3 is that the first victim has a really close group of friends. I love these rules. I love that every single time they are introduced with new rules, and those are the rules to surviving a stab movie. We also learned that by this time they have made 8, and people it's mad because they don't like the last one. Mindy and Chad are the nephews of Randy, so of course they have a lot of knowledge just like Randy when it comes to horror movies. She has this little moment of speech just like Randy did with explaining like the rules and how everything plays. And I was like, that's how I look when I'm talking about horror. I love her character and the knowledge, everything. I love her. So in this scene, we have all the group together. We have Sam, Dewey, and the whole friends, of course, less Tara because Tara is still on the hospital. Now she's basically pointing out next and Dewey who could be the killer, and they point every single one by different motives. And the killer, it's there. The reality is that the killer, like I said, is always in your face. Now the next victims are Wes and his mother, that is no other than Deputy Judy Hicks or the sheriff now. Basically, Ghostface gets into the house and kills them both. It's a really good sequence. I loved all the deaths of this one. The rest that they were amazing. I love them. So those ones are the next ones to fall. Now, of course, since all the police is on the house of the victims, no one is on the hospital. And when Sam gets like on the realization of it, she gets back to the hospital with Dewey. Ghostface once again appears. And this is the moment that this one was a theory that a lot of people had, and that was Dewey was going to die, and he did. The reality is that it was kind of a stupid move of his character because he's pretty self-aware of all the cliches and all the things that you shouldn't be doing, and he still did it, and he died. It was pretty brutal. And then we have Gail getting to the hospital, and she, of course, sees the corpse. Oh my god, the reality is that it hurts seeing Dewey die because right now the only ones that we have left are Gail and Sydney. Now Sydney, basically Dewey calls her and tells her, and he texts Gail about it, but nothing else. Basically it's like on the last 40 minutes of the movie that we have Sydney once again in Woodsboro with Gail, because Gail arrives a little bit earlier, but Sydney doesn't arrive until Dewey's death. And of course, we have them as a team once again trying to kill Ghostface because they know that they need to kill it because they won't be safe. But Sam wants to leave Woodsboro. Now, something about Tara, she has asthma and she needs the inhaler and she's not able to find it, but she says, because they live in town, and she's like, I need it. And she says that she has one in Amber's house. But this is the kicker. Amber's house is Stu's house. Let me tell you, I didn't have to see the full front of the house to recognize it. If you're a fan, you're going to catch every single one of the reference, every single thing. Like seriously, it's not hard. Of course, we have a scene on the basement. We have Mindy with Amber. A pretty good reference to the original, but nothing really happens there. Now, since Tara arrives to the house, Richie is like, well, now, since they were a party, she was having a party with everything that was happening. And he's like, well, now all of you are in danger because Tara is here. So they basically end the party a little bit earlier. And the ones that we have left on the house are Mindy, Chad. Actually, Chad was kissing with Liv, and she's like, I want to do it. And in my mind, like, honey, that's rule number 1. But he's like, no, because I don't know who's the killer. So she gets mad and gets out of the house. He gets a text from her. He gets out to her, but he gets stabbed by Ghostface, and we don't see his corpse ever again. And Liv, it's on the house. We have Amber, we have Richie, we have Sydney with Gail, and we have Tara. And this is the and Mindy, of course. And this is the moment of the revelation of who is the killer. And the killer is, rumble please, Amber. She is Ghostface number one. She kills Lev by a shot on the head. And she kind of starts chasing the rest ones until we have Tara. She is on the closet. She's tied up with tape. We have Richie that he is hiding on the other closet. Sydney, she shots him because she's shooting on doors, so of course she's not seeing what the hell, and she shoots him on the leg. And we have the appearance of Ghostface with the whole costume. And we have also Gail that has been shot by Amber. And here's it's when Ghostface number two appears. Now, let me tell you before I say this. Richie tries to make Samantha think that Tara is Ghostface. And for a brief moment, she thought that it was. But guess who was Ghostface number two? Richie. He made a fool of himself because he was all the movie like, I have never seen a stab movie, and he was watching them on Netflix for the first time when everything was happening. Like, he was on Netflix. And basically the reason why Amber and him, that they were a couple, the reason that they wanted to do all of this was because they were mad about Stab 8 and they wanted something new and give Hollywood a new story and better. Because they were fans of the movie and they wanted to do something, but of course they wanted new characters but with the original. Of course they're trying to kill Gail and Sydney, but Gail kills Amber. And we have the whole scene of the chase with Richie, but eventually of course Sydney kind of tries to kill him, but eventually who kills him is Sam. Throughout the whole movie, we have Sam that she's having visions of Billy, but the young version. We have this CGI version of Billy Loomis when he was young. She's having visions because she doesn't want nothing to do with him, of course. But eventually he's like making her like do it, like kill him, like embrace it. And she does. She does what no one, I wasn't expecting it. The reality, she takes a knife and starts stabbing him really, really hard, like with passion. Like she's not like, no, like she's doing it. And she cuts the throat. A really good kill if you ask me. And of course, Sydney is like, they always come back. So she shoots him on the head, just in case, if he wasn't dead already. And by the end, we have Chad, who survived. I don't know how, but he survived. I really like his character too. We have Mindy, we have Gail, we have Sydney, we have Tara, and we have Sam. Those ones are the survivors of the movie. Now, basically, the movie ends right just like the first one ended. But instead of Gail being reporting, it's another person doing the report. Camera starts going backwards and showing the whole house and the whole scene. And that's basically it for the movie. The movie is 1 hour and 53 minutes long. But the thing that shocked me and hit me really hard the most was at the end, it says for Wes. And let me tell you that Wes Craven, he will be very proud. It gets me a little bit emotional. Wes Craven, for me, it's one of my favorite directors ever. Like, not just on the time, like not just like the 80s and 90s or something. Like, he's in general one of my favorites. Thanks to him, we have Freddy. Thanks to him, we have Ghostface. He has done so much for the genre and so much. Like, I would like to eventually do a video talking about the impact that he had in horror in general and talking about all the projects and everything that he did. If you want that, just let me know if that's something that you will be interested in hearing. But the reality is that I know that he would be very proud because the movie feels like a huge homage to the first one, but also trying to be a little bit of a reboot, but without being a complete reboot, if you understand. Because it's making it on purpose. At some point, Mindy explains the whole thing of why this could be a reboot. because of everything that is happening. So for me, this movie was enjoyable, was fun, was interesting. It had every single thing that a Scream movie should have. It was everything that I was expecting and more. And I am so grateful that this movie came out. This is such a really good way of starting 2022. I just loved it. The only thing that I like, it was a little bit like weird for me, was the fact that Billy had a daughter that we didn't knew until now. But that's something that I would ignore, and that will be fine. So for me, this movie is a 4.5 out of 5. It's not perfect, but it's a really good Scream sequel. It is. For me, I am not sure if a sixth movie will be coming out anytime soon. Who knows? I think that they shouldn't for now. Like, if you want to do another one, you should wait a little bit more. But in general, I am very pleased, and I really, really enjoy it. I like it. The new characters, they were pretty enjoyable. Amber, I hated it from the first moment. I mean, she has this type of bitch face. And seriously, you want to punch her. So of course, when she died, I loved it. Richie, on the other hand, he was a nice guy the whole time. So of course, you don't really hate it until the end. But Amber, you're not going to like it from the very beginning. She's a red flag walking. She's not a good friend, of course. But well, I think that this is all for my review. I am so pleased that this one was my first review of 2022. And I really like it. I'm going to be doing a ranking of the franchise now that the fifth one came out next week, and that is going to be a collaboration with Kelly Corners of Nightmares. I did a collaboration already with her on her channel. I'm going to be leaving the link down below. It's our favorite deaths of the franchise, of course, without including the fifth one. So if you want to check that and subscribe to her channel, I'm going to be leaving the links down below. And like I said, that one, it's coming on next Friday, because tomorrow, well, today, Friday, it's coming Hotel Transylvania 4 Transformania. I'm going to be giving the review of that over the weekend, and that review probably will be coming on Tuesday. Yeah, probably. So then on Friday will be coming the ranking. And well, this is all. Let me know in the comments what you think. How do you feel? I want to rewatch it. Seriously, I want to rewatch it. I even went with my mask to the movie theater. I was the only one. I have seen pictures and tweets of people that actually had like the full movie theater with it, and just like Scream 2. How does it feel to live my dream? Like, seriously, hurts me the fact that today the movie theater was basically empty and there were many people out there, and also I was the only one with the mask. Kind of hurts. Oh well. Here, at least in Puerto Rico, horror is not the biggest thing. So of course, horror, it's like there's a small group of fans, but here I am still here. And well, this is all for the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to be see you guys on the next one. Bye.